Marcus, welcome back.
Thank you. Good to be back, actually. I was worried that people were going to think that I wasn't coming back, but yeah, good to be back. And I suppose we've created an effective roadblock here. Nobody's going anywhere.
No, we have stopped all traffic this afternoon on Juma, and speaking of which, you must be glad to be back in an area with less traffic than where you have been.
Sure, I've had quite a hectic time. Yes, indeed. Actually, there's rain behind us, by the way. Keep an eye on that big cloud. It's moving fast.
Ooh.
Hi, everybody. It's great to be here for Scott's last drive. I'm sorry I wasn't here for the last few days, and Scott's been carrying the ball. But I'm sorted out. I'm back, and I'll be here for the next few days.
Yes, in a few weeks, which is also good news that there's been a brief extension for now. So Mark will be carrying on for the next 2 weeks, which is such great news, and hopefully who knows what will happen thereafter. So that's some great news that we just got today, and really happy about that, as I'm sure a lot of you are.
I think it's fantastic. It gives me something to do for the next few weeks, that's for sure. And a chance, of course, to stay here at Juma and to continue the lives of the animals that we see and to find some new ones, because there are a few things that we didn't get in this, and if today and tomorrow are our last drives and we didn't get them, would have been a bit of a pity. So hopefully we got some time to get some cheetah and some more dogs.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
well, you're going to head out, and I'm going to probably fool around here. Maybe go look for Kunuma or something.
Perfect. Sounds good.
You're going to go over Tarathusa?
I don't think so to start off with. I'll probably stay here to start with, but maybe might head across there a bit later. But we'll keep in touch on the radio.
You go that way, I'll go this way, and hopefully we'll find something.
Well, exactly. Good. Sounds good, Mark. Good to have you back. Enjoy it out there.
Hello, Vim. And then there's also the thumb that we'll see when you come to my camp.
That you've been hiding. Okay, have a good one. We'll catch you later.
Bye.
So, welcome again, and it is myself and VM on Zanele, and Mark and Brian, as you would have seen on the Jigger. And so good to have Mark back. So he only arrived about an hour or so ago, so had a brief catch up with him, and you may now understand why he needed to head off for a few days, because there were whisperings of the project continuing for a couple of weeks, and therefore he needed a short break, as he hasn't had one since he's been here. So that explains Mark being away for a few days, as I know there were a few different thoughts and speculations as to what could be going on. And we have started off with a really, really cool sighting. Look at all these impala here. Incredible. And even though I'm leaving tomorrow, and this is my last drive for now, I'm so happy that the show is continuing, because now, just like you guys, I'm going to be able to log in and watch from afar and keep track of these animals that we've been seeing so much over the last few months. So I'm really, really happy about this news, as I'm sure a lot of you are. It is fairly common for animals to feed on and around termite mounds. There's something about the nature of the soil that tends to create more palatable grasses, and you often find herbivores feeding. Oh, look at that. That was incredible, those reactions. And just one little fright from one member sent the whole herd shuffling. It was wonderful to see that ripple effect. How's this working for you, VM? It can be tricky for me with the camera, so I'm guessing there's just so much going on that it's difficult to know what to do.
Yeah.
Are you feeling that, or are you enjoying it?
When in doubt, go wide.
Okay, good. So we did have a brief shower at about 2 o'clock, but very brief. But as I'm sure you can see from the building clouds, which are to the south, the direction VM is pointing the camera, there's some potential danger ahead, and as well as Mark pointed out earlier, you could actually see a wave of rain on its way towards us, but it could well miss us, so hopefully that does happen. If not, we'll just bunker down for a few moments and then continue the broadcast once it clears up. Mark, I'm going to come and give you a hand slowly into that area, but you go on ahead of me. Like I said, just between those two mud wallows, the Chiller Pan mud wallows, we left them west of there. Brian will be able to help you out. Okay, copy. Would you like a link? Okay, well, I'll give you a minute or two. And did you copy that message on the Game Drive channel? It was the reports of the Birmingham coming into the Sabi Sands around Dowry Gates, but not sure which direction they would have headed from there. Oh, really? Okay, I didn't know about that. Cool. Come here. Well, it's funny to look at some of the destruction caused by the elephant bulls that were playing yesterday. There's some of the debris and leaf litter in the road from the vegetation that he was ripping out of largely these large fruited bush willows that he seemed to take a fancy to. And that really was a magical elephant sighting. As of most of the drives been, there's always been something interesting, be it small or big, and we really, like I say, should be really grateful for how things have panned out over the last few months, because there are so many variables out here that can make it difficult to see great things, yet we really have got spoiled. Especially you guys, because you're seeing often twice as what I'm seeing, because you're getting to swap between the two vehicles. Sorry, go again. Beautiful. Okay, copy, perfect. beautiful woodlands kingfisher perched here. This is a bird I'm really going to miss. They really do bring a presence in the summer with their loud call that we so often hear. Really is a call of the summer here in the low veldt, and a call that I will not be hearing down in Cape Town, that's for certain. Oh, he may have seen something. You can see his body language. It's certainly increased in intensity, and he seems to be focusing that head of his. Incredible that we managed to see one of these killing and feeding a little snake to one of its chicks as we stopped to monitor the adults coming to drop off food at the nest. So again, just another happy memory and a very unique sighting that we shared with this animal. And as I put down my water bottle, he disappeared. Copy, back on one. No problem. So we'll head on down to where we last saw Kunyuma this morning. For those of you who weren't following this morning's drive, just to recap, we managed to find Kunyuma at Treehouse Dam at around 7 o'clock this morning and continued to follow him basically till the end of drive. We followed him for about an hour and a half or 2 hours. It was incredible and really enjoyed that sighting. Oh, well spotted, Liam. Liam's just spotted a Wastenschwein, which is a warthog in German. It's the only animal I know in German, so don't ask me anymore. But I guess I could fairly easily learn a few more. But there was a warthog or a Wastenschwein, which sadly skedaddled as we tried to get into position. Did you manage to get a glimpse of it, Liam?
Yeah.
Oh, well done. So you would have got a glimpse of it running away there. And as I was saying, we did find him at Treehouse Dam, followed him for about, I'd say 2 miles potentially in distance in total, and then lost him quite close to 2 very prominent mud wallows, and we're therefore going to head back there and have a snoop around. We might get lucky, but then again a lot could have changed in the course of the day. He did look fairly hungry and has been nice and cool. So one speculation that I had, that I threw out there this morning, was that Italy may head down into the Mulwati drainage line or riverbed, which is a really beautiful riverbed system, and I've driven through there countless times hoping to find a leopard, as it really is beautiful seeing leopard in that kind of a setting or scene. Can I stop Vim, or are you all good? Vim was kindly attempting to do some running repairs on the antenna while we were on the move, so he was kind of surfing on the back of the Land Rover, and I thought it would be possibly better for us to stop and make sure we don't have a man overboard. Anyway, as I was saying, there is a chance that he may have slipped down into this riverbed, which would be wonderful, as it is something that I've been hoping to show you over the last few months, and we haven't been fortunate enough to get that. So that is something that we could hope for this afternoon. If not, there was also reports of 5 Birmingham boys, the Birmingham coalition of male lions, and they could well have also come into the property. We've just got reports on the radio. We're not too sure of exactly what the deal is there, but they could well be floating around, so we'll go and have a look. Texan, I think, set it up there to have a look for them, and we could well also set up there a little bit later. Oh, hello boy. How are you? He's got a very pronounced chewing the cud action here. Not very well mannered, this buffalo, eating with his mouth open. Oh, do you understand English? No. Maybe. No. Anyway, he seemed to stop at the perfect time and almost intensify his stare at me. But now he's back to normal and is not even remotely phased. It looks like quite an old bull, this. A lot of character on that face, on those horns. It looks like they've clashed heads before with some other buffalo, as well as those raggedy tattered ears. He's got some serious expression, this old boy. And there could well be some more buffalo at the mud wallows where we are heading to now. Oh, 3 oxpeckers just came flying down, so we'll stop to watch what they get up to. They're really such pretty birds. They come for a drink. I think they have. Can you see from there, Vian?
No.
I don't think they were drinking. I'm not sure what they did do though, but I don't think they were drinking. Okay, so they were just checking in quickly. Obviously he's in good condition and not too much. He's obviously been fed on already today by some other oxpeckers, I guess. So no luck for the oxpeckers there, but good sign for the buffalo that he's in good condition and therefore doesn't require the oxpeckers to continue grooming through his coat looking for ticks. It's a lilac crested roller that's been teasing us, flying along and taking off as we get close, but let's see if he sits and waits for us now. Oh, as I was lifting my camera up, and it flew off to another one there. that wasn't interested in hanging around. So anywhere from here, this leopard could pop out. So keep your eyes peeled. We're going to be now really concentrating on looking for any tracks crossing this road. He was on our right hand side this morning, further ahead but not too far ahead. But he was on our right hand side. He had been moving towards our left the whole morning. Like I said, I'm going to be ensuring there's no on this road or crossing a road, and Vim, who's got eyes like a hawk, will be scanning around all over from left to right. So we've got all our bases covered here, but I'm just going to take it slowly. Just been having some signal issues that I need to sort out. So that is, we will cross over, because I'm sure there's a lot of you that see some of us.
Hello everyone. Being out in the bush and being out there live.
Walk back, and you can slowly perusing through the riverbed. I didn't see any African monarchs.
Hi everybody, and good to be back. I had a whirlwind 3 days, and good to be back. It's been a long day driving, actually a long 3 days. I did a lot of driving up and down, but good to be back and a much more relaxed driving. Also, I don't have any traffic to deal with, and I don't have any traffic police to deal with. I was ready to go postal. But even more fun than that is, or rather more fun than being back for now, is the fact that we're going to be still talking to each other for a couple of weeks at least. So it's great to have that news, everyone. That is especially since we haven't quite finished here yet, have we? There are still things to see in the coming weeks. So, give us another chance to find a cheetah, another chance to find, well, to find out what our favorite characters are doing.
Speaking of which, here comes the thumb.
Here comes the thumb. Let me see the thumb. That's a happy thumb. Thumb's going to be around for another couple of weeks too. Okay, we're going back to where we came from. Funny. how things have dried up in the last couple of days. There's been a bit of rain around, and we've certainly seen some storms, both up in Tumavati, but they what we would call isolated thunderstorms, because they're just these columns of grey that you can watch where they're going, and you can actually either choose to drive through them or wait them out or drive around them if you can. And there were a couple that moved over today, but there's a little bit of a hint of moisture in the air, and that there has been rain, that coolness that it brings with a bit of wind. But it's looking very, very dry. The grasses have closed up their leaves, their blades. Quite remarkable. Found traces of fire up in Manyaleti. We actually saw fire a few nights ago, about a week ago I think it was, when we were having dinner. And we could see the glow of a fire, and it is extremely unusual to have a fire in the middle of summer, especially with the bush so green. But the thing is, we've had some very, very hot and dry days, and there is still a little bit of dry moribund material underneath all the green, and if that starts catching, especially with a bit of a warm wind that blows on a really hot day, it can create such an intense fire that the heat that precedes the fire actually dries the grasses out before the flames get there, so that with a little bit of a wind, the fire has untold access, or it can escape and become wild. Obviously not as devastating as a fire in the dry season. Probably boiled the leaves on the trees, which is why they're all brown. But it'll probably green up again before the end of summer. We were at Djuma Waterhole, Brian and I, earlier, but we had to come up to Zoe's Road and Impala Plains because we had to deal with our signal issue. We just weren't broadcasting from here at one point, so we had to come and sort some equipment out, attitude adjustment of equipment. And that brings us up to this part of the world. I want to go back towards Gowrie Dam, Djuma Waterhole, Gowrie Dam, because there was a fish eagle there, and I'm sure some people might watch it on the Djuma Waterhole camp. But it might be nice if we spend a few minutes and we could see it maybe hunting. Lots of wildebeest. The impala are out on quarantine already. Let's see some elephant tracks, funnily enough. I wonder if we shouldn't go that way via Rebecca's Road and a long way around. I think we'll do that. Pardon?
I was saying, go see some alien before we go to that.
Yeah. Always a beautiful view from here. Quite a strong breeze blowing, coming from the southeast. Been a vehicle over these tracks. I'm assuming that these tracks on this elephant are maybe from this morning. There are old branches broken everywhere, but they're far too dry to be recent. There might be some of you that are starting to watch the drives now, that are coming into it quite late, and you might not. And a lot of things that you might have missed the last few weeks, but don't despair. We are here again from next week. Well, we'll have to do quite a bit of work on Sunday. Tomorrow is going to be the last day of January, so it's the last drive for now. Sunday, I'm afraid, I think we might have to be off air on Sunday, because we've got to transfer a lot of equipment from Manileti, and most of the guys are actually leaving, or some of the guys are leaving, so there's leaves only a couple of us here. And we're hoping to be back again then on Monday, from what I understand. Of course, I've only just come back and I've been offline for a few hours, well, most of today while I was driving. So we're going to be getting more information as the next day comes to, well, as today comes to an end, and I suppose tomorrow we'll get more word on things. It is unfortunate we're saying goodbye to Scott today. He has to leave tomorrow, so this is for those of you who didn't know, Scott's last drive this afternoon. I hope we can find him some good stuff for his last drive. And I will be here for you tomorrow morning and tomorrow afternoon to while away, or Sunday. There's a European roller just flew away. I wish I saw it early enough. Not much bird song this afternoon. Well, not much. Not much of anything really, but not much bird song happening. Must be this little wind that's come up. That might be a telltale sign of weather to come. Although, looking at the southern sky, it's very, very blue. Questions at wildearth.tv, and if you want to tweet something, #SafariLive. We now don't have to squeeze everything into the last 24 hours. We've got time to do things, but I'd still appreciate something from someone. Okay, that's as far as gravity takes us. Got to use the engine for most of it. It'd just be nice to interact. Let us know where you're from, where you're watching, what you're doing on a Friday morning or afternoon or evening. Hello boys, you the one horn boy. What should we call him? The unicorn ram. The uni ram. An impala ram that must have lost his horn fighting. And sometimes, although there's a whole lot of things that happen in nature that stop impala from really getting into intense fights, the very bachelor herd that we're looking at right now is that in action, in that there's a hierarchy amongst these rams, and they maintain that by living together and sharing the same area but not invading each other's space. You'll find that when they're in these bachelor herds, they all have a little bit of a zone around them that they don't let another ram into, that little comfort zone. And over the months that they spend time together, they get to know who's the dominant and who's the subordinate. But every now and then you'll get two rams that think that they're the boss, and then they square off. There's no giving up until one is seriously outdone by the other, and that could lead to injuries, can lead to broken horns. He looks like he's lost a horn right down at the base. But it looks like it's healed pretty well. We'll see how he fares the next couple of weeks. The bachelor herds are going through a big change at the moment. They are starting to gear up for the rutting season coming in a couple of months' time, probably towards the end of April. And it might seem like a long way away, but well, conditions can always speed it up, or by the time it happens, they've got to get their act together. And the dominant rams are going to have to start sorting out their breeding herds. They have to start sorting out their breeding herds. It gives these boys time to just fan up and practice sparring. I must find you all a photo. I've got a photograph of an impala that had such an intense fight that his broke off in his neck. Yeah, you heard that, did you? Looking at me like that. Yeah, it wasn't here, don't worry about it. It wasn't your horn. A unicorn. Bye boys. We'll see you later. We're going to see what's down at the dam and then go and look for a zebra or something. Or a zebra or something. I'm reading you 4 out of 5, Scott. Okay, I came back from the repeaters from down Rebecca's and Philemon's cut line. Just going to have a look down at Treehouse Dam. This way, back towards the dam. Okay, so I think Scott's just going to fill you in what he's up to, so we'll head over to Scott and I'll see you in a little while, everyone. I'm going to see what I can find in the meantime.
Welcome back, and thankfully we have found his tracks, and when I say we, I mean Wiem. Wiem actually spotted his tracks in the riverbed. I'm not sure how I missed them, but I did, and thankfully Wiem spotted them and made me aware, and I got out and followed them in this little riverbed that's down to our left here, and it's difficult to... It would be pointless for me to follow his tracks as far as I can, because then if I do find him and I'm far from the vehicle, it makes relocating difficult. I'll be in a few minutes. So what I might do is get off here and walk down, because we've looped a little bit ahead now of where he was heading, and what I can do is dip down into the drainage line, see if he's made it this far. If he has and he continues, well then we can just loop ahead again and keep kind of leapfrogging ahead of where he has been moving. But really happy to have his tracks, and again thanks to Wiem for spotting them. So I'm going to be off my vehicle, and it was just a brief update to let you know what he's been up to. Yeah, he's probably moved up to where we found him now, about half a mile from where we left him this morning. And like I said, it's been a cool day. He was hungry. It's difficult to know how far he would have gone, but really enjoying following some fresh tracks, and we'll keep you updated as soon as we get some more information. So I'm going to head down into the riverbed, and I'm sure at some point Alex might cut back to Mark, but we'll catch up with you later.
Hi everyone. While Scott's tracking, he's been getting pretty good at his tracking. I have to take my hat off to him. So we'll leave him up to that. Some elephant there. Where did this pachyderm go? It went this way. A few hours ago, by the looks of things. Hyena tracks from last night. Roots and all. Don't fly away. Well, it's not too far away, except now if I stop it's going to think we're chasing it. There's a fork-tailed drongo that was just sitting in the most beautiful light, and now it's hiding because we're looking at it, so it thinks that we're after it, so it's trying to get away. Sometimes if you can just catch the bird and stop in time, catch it, I mean on camera, not catch it physically. You've got to put salt on a bird's tail before you can catch it. Well, if you can put salt on its tail, then you can catch it. But I just mean capture it. I mean, get it on camera, and sometimes when they're so close, they could probably fill the frame with it. But it's just this irony that as soon as you stop and look at it, it thinks, oh, my life's in danger, and flies away. I'm just looking for any tracks, any ellie, anything that might have been up here on Spum Road, on Gowrie Main, coming across to Juma. Maybe we'll just go down to Weaver's Nest. Hi, Donna. Sorry, I thought maybe we'd gone black screen, no signal. Donna, hello Donna, in Ohio. Donna is asking if we only have 2 seasons, summer and winter. Well, how do the seasons work? How long are the seasons? Well, it's hard to say, Donna. We technically have 4 seasons like everywhere else in the world. It's the same planet. We're just in the southern hemisphere, which means that your winter is our summer, your spring is our autumn or fall, your winter our summer. If I got that right. And I suppose technically speaking they're each 3 months long, the way it works every year. But I suppose also the fact that it is sort of subtropical climate that we're in, we've got the Tropic of Capricorn not very far from us, does mean that we don't get the very distinct seasonal changes that you might get when the temperatures drop and you get snow and all of that. And that transition from, I suppose, a normal summer type of climate into that fall where there is a very distinct thing that happens. I guess it's less noticeable here. I think the seasons, they're still all 4 seasons and they last just as long as everywhere else. They're just different signs here that are not the same as anywhere else on the planet. Or maybe Australia, South America, some parts, I suppose, since they're in the southern hemisphere, probably experience the same thing. Which 3 months exactly? I couldn't tell you. Whether it's December, January, February, or November, December, January, that's our summer. Or if our spring is August, September, October, or if it's September, October, November, it's not really a defined time, because the Gregorian calendar is a separate issue to the way things work on the 365-day calendar of a solar year that is nature here in Africa. Strangely enough, all around the world there are very specific things that happen at certain times of the year based on a solar calendar. There are animals that are, you can almost set your calendar to their arrival or their departure, or they're doing something in particular because the sun has to be in a very specific place for them, to trigger them to do that. In very much the same way as, I suppose, there's a greater frequency of things on Earth that are tied into the moon cycle, in that 28-29 day moon cycle, unlike the 365 day solar cycle. That moon cycle is a little bit different, but it still governs a lot of life, and it still rules the lives and the reproduction of so many creatures on the planet. So I suppose because it happens on the same solar day of the year, you can ascribe it to a certain date on the Gregorian calendar, on our calendar. But when it comes to weather, and it comes to temperatures, and it comes to when the rains are coming, and that kind of seasonal change, it can waver, it can vary, and it all depends, if I may say, the dreaded word. Some years the rainfall can be late. Sometimes I can be in a dip.
The seasons are shifting. They are slightly shifting.
Well, I've had knobthorns coming into bloom earlier and earlier into Thanks, Scott. Still checking tracks. Well, as I was saying, I've been recording earlier and earlier flowering of certain trees, particularly like knobthorn. Good weird things that are happening. Sometimes the rains aren't here until December, and normally we get September rains. Well, normally, what is normal? What is a weather pattern anymore? Because they are so different to what they were many years ago. But then you have to look at a bigger picture of things, and that nature doesn't have patterns, or everything in nature has to be random and varied, because it's the very thing that drives change, and it's that very change in climate and atmospheric, well, climate and rainfall that dictates the path of every living creature on the planet and how they adapt to those changes. And it can happen remarkably quickly within generations, that with climate changing the way plants grow, changing the sizes of seeds, or the density of seeds, or the amount of fruit, changing so many subtle things within generations. Different species can go through changes to adapt to those variations, and they become different in their own sense as a result of it. The whole physiology of an animal can change accordingly. Yes, no, yes, no. I think we'll go back towards quarantine. Scott seems to be heading towards Gowrie Dam, Djuma Waterhole, after those tracks of Kanuma. So I'm not going to go down to Twin Dams Road just yet, because they're tracking down there. What have I got here? Hyena. Again, second time now. Tapped my stick. Makes the heart beat a little bit. Who's been picking terminalia and dropping it in the road? My guess is an elephant. There's far too long ago. The tracks are old. I wonder where he picked it from. It must have been one of these. But thanks, Donna. Thanks for the question about the seasons. Oh, you know what the other good news is, everybody? I only just thought of it now, and it should have occurred to me already. Because it would have been one of the first things I ordinarily would have thought about, and the moon. We're only a few days away from full, and I was getting really upset that we weren't going to share another full moon, but we are now. Isn't that great? Only a few days away. Okay, so off you go. Go and see what update there is with Scott. I'll see you later. I'm still trying to find things for you. So, bye.
Welcome back, and myself and VM are still hot on the trail of this male leopard. Well, maybe not so hot on its trail, but we're on its trail, and the road that we've just come off did divert a long way away from the riverbed that he was heading in, but when I did head back down into that riverbed, I had to spend a few minutes to find where he had actually crossed out of the riverbed, and he kind of headed in the opposite direction to where that road took us, but we continued along it, and now we're heading back into the area where we are more likely to bump into him or his tracks. So sometimes you are required to do large loops ahead simply because there aren't enough roads to take you to where you would like to get to, but that we're used to, so we've done quite a big loop around. Haven't seen anything really along the way, but really loving this opportunity to track. And he did walk through the riverbed that I was hoping to see him in and show him to you in, but that's just a nice thought. We've all driven through that riverbed before, and well, I'm sorry if you're a newcomer, then you may not have, but most of you would have driven through that beautiful big riverbed with me before, and or Mark or the other presenters. And just to imagine him walking through there, we know that he's been there just today, so just that thought for me is special. And even following his footprints through the smaller riverbed, crossing over logs and just seeing exactly what he did and where he was moving is almost as good as seeing the actual animal. So I've really enjoyed this little afternoon tracking so far, and we will continue to try our best. And that is the beauty of having Mark back, is that it does allow us to bounce between the two vehicles, allow either of us time to be able to focus on finding animals, because it is an important part of our job, actually searching and finding the animals. We can't always just expect them there to be lying there waiting for us to respond to a sighting, but it is obviously difficult for us to invest time in tracking when we do only have one vehicle, because it can be a little bit tedious. And as I've said this, the joys of having two vehicles has just come through on a message to me on the radio, so we're going to go over to Mark and see what he's just found for you.
Well, my ellie radar is working because we've caught up with this young lad picking up marulas on the ground that have fallen from this tree, and he was facing us. There's beautiful light on him. I'm going to have to try and move a little bit so that we can catch a bit of the light, the side. I like this side lighting rather than full on light. He's probably, look, he's come from this side, so he is heading more or less in a northerly direction. Let's go down this way around this little triangle. All these zinnias are starting to fade now. They were so lovely and red against the green. be nice if they could fade before they seed. But I guess that's wishful thinking. Jambo Tembo, Rafiki Yangu. Yeah, just, why don't you just turn your back on me all the time? Why don't you? And a monarch, African monarch, flittering just near his feet, but it's gone now. Here it is, coming closer to me. Come here, butterfly. Ellie butterfly. Butterfly for Ellie. There's a type of sage here on the open area that the monarchs seem to get some nutrients from, or perhaps they use it as a host plant. There is, of course, the milkweed, but I can't imagine they're laying eggs right now. Who knows? Anyway, there's a beautiful marula tree, very typical shape of a marula tree, beautiful large round crown, and always some lovely flat branches that are kind of grown specifically for leopard to lie on, and forks in the trees that are designed to hold their kills. This is one of the reasons why you have pretty much a predominance of, in some areas of leopards using marula trees. In some cases, in some places in other parts of Africa where I've lived with big sausage trees that are also very, very large, bigger than these marula trees. They love the sausage trees because it's a very big leaflet, or very big compound leaves that provide perfect shade. Okay, we're not going to go far. We're going to watch him for a while. And while we've got him, Scott's got something for you, so we'll see what. We'll come back to me in a bit. Me and the Ellie.
Come back, folks, and look at this beautiful, beautiful, dark giraffe bull. I believe he has been seen before. I think Mark found him. I certainly haven't seen this one. He is an incredibly beautiful specimen. Let's watch closely. He's chewing the cud, so he's just swallowed a bolus, and watch his throat very closely. We'll see the next one coming up and popping into his head. I'll let you know when to watch, so keep watching kind of his trachea, I guess, along the front of his throat, and you'll notice, if you watch very closely, a small little lump move upwards and then pop into his mouth. Keep watching closely. Come on. I think he may be not too interested in my plan, but we can still keep watching. He hasn't moved, and I'm fairly sure he could be chewing the cud. I saw him just swallow one mouthful, and he hasn't been eating any leaves, so it would be cud that he's chewing, and they typically process bolus after bolus of cud and re-chew the vegetation to make sure they digest it as effectively and efficiently as possible. And you can actually see the ball traveling up his throat usually, but he may have just got stage fright. What a magnificent specimen, and again, just such a great reason, or another good reason to emphasize how useful it is having Mark back here, because we can literally show you twice the amount of game potentially than we would from one vehicle. So I hope you've been enjoying the elephant bull sighting, and we've come across now to another very large herbivore that roam this wilderness, and that is this beautiful big bull giraffe. Usually they're not nearly as dark as he is, and it really is impressive when they do get this dark. It is a combination of age and genetics. and also gender to a degree. The males typically get far darker than any of the females. And off he goes, just like that. It's sadly very thick into this riverbed where he's heading, so we're not going to be able to stay with him. There's no roads that follow alongside it. But I might be able to just reverse to give you one last shot of his face in the sun.
Welcome everybody, welcome to my world of elephants. Because really they're the kings of the African bushveld. Most certainly. There's a lot of myth and legend and storytelling about the lion is the king of the jungle. But it's not true. Because when you think about it, a lion has a territory. And a lion is but a cat compared to an elephant, and elephants can chase lions away, and well, elephants go wherever they want. They don't have territories. They roam over hundreds and hundreds of kilometers, and they go wherever they want, and everything moves out of their way. So true masters of their environment, they are pretty much responsible for everything being here. The way elephants and trees have adapted to each other, to the presence of each other, almost being well, elephants need trees as much as trees need elephants. You can see him just popping those marulas into his mouth. Got really good aim. We'd love to find out if we can get that in slow motion or something. But literally sort of picking them up and flicking them into his mouth from a good few inches away. I mean, it's 6 to 8 inches away. That is. Come, one more. Let's see, one more. Oops. Now, some of you might remember that we've had an elephant that has lost part of its trunk. The tip of its trunk. We've seen a few actually over the years, and people have asked me how it affects their feeding. And I lived with an elephant up in Tanzania that had lost the tip of its trunk, and it was most incredible to watch it eating marula fruits, because it didn't have those two little fingers at the end of the trunk to be able to pick up a marula fruit, which is about, I'd say, a little bit smaller than a golf ball, like a ping pong ball. Ping pong, table tennis. I have to move. Brian's having to do some yoga in the back there to follow him. There's a cloud moving in pretty quick. Anyways, this little elephant used to load them up his nostrils like a pea shooter, and then pop them into his mouth like a pea shooter. It was the most incredible thing. But just his power to adapt to feed on things that make it awkward. When it came to things that were too big to sort of put into the actual nostril part of his trunk, it was amazing. He would curl his trunk into a little cup shape, or he'd curl the tip of his trunk, and he'd actually roll the big doom palm fruits and other larger fruit. He'd roll them onto his trunk with his front foot. Well, it's a hand really, it's not a foot. I don't know why we call animals four-legged, because the bones in there, they've got shoulder blades, they've got the same arm bones that we have, just that they walk on their hands and their feet. So they're four-limbed rather than four-legged. if we look at him, we can see as he's going to walk past us and then be able to see it, and maybe I can do a bit of maneuver there. There's my finger. So what I want to do is, you can see there's his elbow. Let me go and move again. We need to go the other side of him so we can see him in the light. At the moment it's a little bit dark because we're looking into the sun. Where are you going, Tembo? Can we walk with you, or can we go with you? I'm going to wait till he goes past, and I'm going to go behind him and come to the western side of him. JB in the UK wants to know what those white spots are in the corner of his eye. It's mucus, and accumulated mucus because he blinks a lot. Because you can imagine, sorry boy, did I don't want to push you on further. I just want to get to the western side. I don't remember he's feeding it out. He's walking through brush and grasses and trees, and it's getting quite dusty nowadays, and I suppose more so now going into the dry season. Although we're not quite there yet, but it is getting a bit dry and there is a bit of dust. The whole purpose of blinking, much as it is with us humans, the whole purpose of blinking is to get rid of foreign things, dust and other particles on the eye itself. And so by blinking, you're actually moving all of that stuff. You're wiping it all off into your lower eyelid, and just the way the eye is situated, it eventually ends up in the corner of the eye, much like it does with us, where our tear ducts are, which is where the eye produces moisture for the eyeball to not dry out. A couple of drongos that are enjoying his company because he's chasing up some insects, and they're getting a lot more than they would normally get without a large mammal moving around their territory. So it's just mucus and dust and particles that his eyes have cleaned. And you find sometimes you'll actually find elephant curling their trunks, the tip of their trunk, into like a little fist and rubbing their eyes in very much the same way we do when we wake up. He does have a very slight must smell about him. He is leaking from his temporal glands. He's not dribbling between his legs. That drongo is back again next to his face, but he's pulling quite hard on that combretum, and the drongo's finding it hard to balance. Oh, drongo's right there next to his trunk. Question from Ellie about Tanzania. What's up, dude? Got a mouthful of this, I think it's Rhodes grass. It's a grass that only really grows on termite mounds, and he's been picking a lot of it. What's that? Something else? Just taking a few leaves. Back to a marula tree to look for fruit. And his accompanying drongos. Ellie was asking a question about game viewing in Tanzania, and Ellie says that she's heard that there is a lot of overcrowding, and it's discouraged her from visiting Tanzania. I have to agree, there are places where it is so overcrowded and there are no rules like we have here in South Africa, and it's kind of a hard one to monitor. It's a hard one to police. It's a hard one to have the equivalent of what we have here is sort of the guide grading system, where guides are compelled to pass exams and have certificates and qualifications. There is a guide training school in Tanzania. There is a body that governs them, but you'll find a lot of the professional guides that have found their way to the places where it isn't crowded and where their expertise and their passion and their knowledge comes in handy. The thing is that because there isn't really she's going to chew all the sand off of those roots, pulling up a lot of the zinnia, funnily enough. Just going to chew the grass, the plant part, and drop all the roots. There we go, dropped them all. Shaking sand off of a lot of the roots too. You see, in some of the iconic parks, there are so many national parks in Tanzania, but there are all the other national parks in terms of revenue and visitor numbers, and that's places like Serengeti and Ngorongoro Crater and one or two others, and most of the other parks and reserves are so inaccessible that you can only get there by small plane, and then the cost becomes a factor. So there's a different type of guiding, but there's also a different type of utilization of some of the lesser known parks. So most certainly in some of the really popular areas, in Ngorongoro Crater and the top half of Tarangire National Park, Lake Manyara, part of the Serengeti, for example, are areas where you will find crowding because anybody can just take a minibus, a pop-top minibus, and go find people at an airport or at a hotel and take them in. You just have to have the vehicle, really. There's more elephants. There are more elephants just over the ridge. That's why he's moving in this direction relatively fast. I think he's also just connected to them because he's heading in their direction too now. I was wondering why he was sort of feeding and moving the way he was. Looks like they're on a march to Gari Dam, Juma Waterhole. But in the places that I've lived in Tanzania, I've been very, very lucky. I've only lived in very remote places, and those remote places have been so exclusive that it's only been myself and the guides that I work with and our vehicles for the most part. But it's also been areas where I've been allowed to do walking safaris, almost wilderness areas where there are no roads. It's just vast, thousands and thousands of square kilometers of elephants. I would live my days out there if I could. I'm going to beat you to the ladies, Mr. Ellie. I'm going to see them too. But I think they were kind of marching. Are you going to feed on that sickle bush? That's a beautiful shot though, standing on the mound. That's too much to miss up. But there I can see just off the horizon, there's an Ellie cow. He might just be coming closer to talk to them. They might be relatives. It's me. I hope he does interact. That's beautiful. Oh wow, that's beautiful. That's why I live here. That's why I'll drive for hours and hours and hours on end and see nothing, just so that I can have an afternoon with an Ellie like this. And you, of course, all our viewers. I do this for you and me. And WildEarth. He's still heading north at a bit more than an amble, bit more than the kind of gait that an elephant bull walks at when he's, well, now he's slowed down a bit. But he's missed that breeding herd, or that family group. I only saw an adult in the back of a child, so I'm not too sure how many there are. They've all headed over the ridge. I wonder if he is going to be meeting up with them. So I'm going to just leave him briefly. I want to go and see who that is. Elephant wise. But mostly because, well, they can talk to each other. At this distance, they undoubtedly have been. There she is. But there are places in East Africa that are just so far out of the way that you can be the only vehicle, and it could be quite... When do boy elephants get booted out of the herd? I think that's from halal. But as I was saying, there are areas of Tanzania that are really wonderful, and some of the best elephant areas. Oh, she's got a tiny little one. Looks like a warthog next to her. So we're going to stop here first. And I want to look with my binoculars. I can see the bull off to the left. She's kind of looking in his direction. But this little baby, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, this quite a new little baby. They are downwind of us, so she knows we're here, little one. And there he is, he's wandering this way now. I think he's picked up their scent of where they've been walking, and he's now coming over this way. And I'm hoping that we're going to see a little bit of interaction. What's really interesting with elephants is when they haven't seen each other for a while and they know each other, which I'm sure they do. Funnily enough, here's some monarchs mating. A lot of monarchs out here on quarantine at the moment, African monarchs. Anyways, we'll get back to monarchs mating. If those two are, there'll be others. But it would really be nice if we can just sort of sit, watch from a distance as he's coming off. I'm coming closer and have a look at this little child that's maybe only a few months old. So tiny, it still fits under mom's belly. She's taking little one away. And the other child now also actually running up to her, so we're going to see if she's going to accept his presence or not. They must have picked up his scent. Now, oh, look at that. She's actually taking the kids away. She's not interested in him at all. And it has nothing to do with us, I have to be honest with you. They did have our scent, they didn't react to it at all because they were accustomed to vehicles. He's heading back towards them now. But he's keeping his distance. He's not going straight towards them, as one normally doesn't do that. You don't walk straight up. But interesting also how the other child of this mama is, and she's a little girl I think, how she's being quite defensive too. They've got the baby between them, they're both facing outwards. So let's see what this is about. Now she's coming back to the bull. Maybe they just picked up the scent of something, or something wasn't right for her. Notice how they keep the little one between them and they're approaching the bull. Let's see, little one's going to go and greet now. Whoever you're greeting. She approached him, but there was no trunk exchange, there was no physical exchange, quite strangely. They're all eating marulas now. Of course, I don't know what the history is. They could have been together all morning. They could have been together for the last week or two. They undoubtedly know each other. Why she ran with the kids, or why the kids took off like they did, I don't know. Certainly had nothing to do with us or the bull, I suppose, or maybe they just picked up a little bit of a must scent and they thought that they were going to get hassled by a bull. She's not a very old mom. And I've often been asked the question about how the matriarch, how that succession takes place, how it is that an elephant becomes a matriarch. And what you have is, when you have a fairly large family of a matriarch and her daughters and their children and several ages of children, you are going to get to the point where the age-old matriarch is going to pass away. And when she does, she will have passed on enough knowledge to all of her daughters, who up till that point would have been quite happy under her, with her guiding them. But by the time she passes on, she will have been able to enlighten them and teach them enough for them to become their own matriarchs. And so what I'm guessing here is that she's recently probably become her own matriarch, and that teenager, it's not quite a teenager, but that older girl, the older sister of this little calf, look at this, the little calf's getting a good lesson from its older sister, how to do things. It's got a lot to learn. Beautiful sort of family shot, actually, to see a bull with a cow and calf, two calves, under a marula tree. It's rather special, actually. There she is. Once she wants to greet him, he's playing ignorant. And now he wants to greet her. She's there. There's the greeting. Just touching each other on the mouth, and he's now also just surreptitiously getting a little bit of a smell of her of her urine, I suppose, that which is dribbled. And hopefully this little child has got the next 6.5 decades of being a free elephant here in Kruger. And well, I can't really tell if it's a little boy or a little girl yet, but that's a little boy. Bull has moved off. He's been very courteous. He's shown exceptional manners in terms of elephant society. He's approached but not approached. He's approached and let her make the first move. He has ignored the children and he's waited for her to make that greeting, and then now he's moved off again. Brings back a question I had earlier that I haven't gotten to yet, about what age that they're kicked out of the herd. I can't remember who that was from, but actually they don't get kicked out of the herd. There are very few things that actually get physically booted or chased. Well, there are quite a few, I suppose, but elephants are not one of them. And if we were to watch this little boy now in his first year of life, he would be going through very much the same as our children go through in their first 10 years. The aging is the same, the amount they need to learn, the dexterity, the knowledge, the need for learning, the lessons that they learn. There's so much that's going to happen in its first 10 years. And then as a little boy is going to go through puberty, probably in between the ages of 12 and 14. But from about already when he's only 5, 6, 7, he's not going to need that closer contact with mom and sister. So there are going to be times when if we were to be back here in 5 years' time and we were to see the same old girl with her 2 calves, and I'm sure there might be others then too, because, well, when she becomes a teenager, that second one, she's going to have her own babies, go after puberty. She can probably, although she can conceive at a young age, she probably won't until she's in her mid to late teens. Hello, little girl. Can you bring the baby? Come and say hello. But slowly but surely, a young bull in a herd kind of lags behind a bit for a few years, and then there are times when he'll actually be lagging behind by sometimes even up to a day, depending on where they are. But he'll always be in vocal contact with mom and the family, but he'll seek out more and more his own company and the company of other or younger bulls. How comfortable this little one is with big sister. Oh, something gave it a fright. Something must have been moving. Did you see how big sister was feeling with her leg? She was feeling behind her with her hind leg to see where the other little one was. Impala are quite interested in us, or what's going on. Maybe they want to see baby elephant. Little one's backed up to big sister with its. Not too sure about things. It's trying to be intimidating. It's trying very hard to be brave. Is that a marula fruit I was trying to eat? Run back to your mother. Put into perspective, size-wise, this little child is... Oh, yes, it is too cute, but... Yeah, mom's going to keep touching... See how baby touches mom with the tail, and mom's probably going to keep contact with tail and hind legs as well. Contact, the baby elephant, contact, that physical touch is so important to it. It's almost constantly got to be touching either mom or sibling or aunt. Yeah, right underneath mom's belly. Tiny little thing. Trying to think of something size-wise. It's probably about as tall as a Great Dane, maybe. Obviously a bit bigger bodied, not as long as a Great Dane would be, but standing about a bit higher than a Lab or a German Shepherd. Probably weighs about 150 kilograms already. She's probably between 8 and 10, I'd say. She's a small-bodied girl, but she's a very brave Ellie, the way she was behaving earlier. Backing up mom, having baby between them. Okay, so back to the bulls, the young boys. They just reach an age where they leave the herd to join up with, in their late teens, to join up with bachelor herds or other bulls, and they then develop bonds with the bulls in this, and they become part of the bull society, as it were, of elephants within a particular area or within a particular that they move in, because they do move over vast areas. But it'll invariably encompass the areas they moved as a calf with the mom and the breeding herds. And as bulls, they then pretty much come into contact with their own families, and I guess in the same sense come into contact with their offspring, and they socialize with them, and they can spend any amount of time with them, sometimes a couple of minutes, as we've seen now. Whether this young male had anything to do with this family or not, we will never know. We'd only really know if we had access to doing genetic profiles, which of course is not going to be easy. But you can get enough genetic material out of dung, but it's just a complicated process. Maybe one day it'll be easy to just sort of do a field test. That little one picked up a scent of something again, coming from the south, that's made her run back to mom. Annette, I think it is, asking a question if there's any plant species that's in danger because of overutilization by elephants. Here, no. I wouldn't say that we have a problem here. There are areas where they are overutilizing the vegetation, very specific areas where, I suppose it's like up in Chobe, on the Chobe River, Chobe National Park in Botswana, where a lot of elephants are forced into a really small corridor, as it were, along the Chobe River, so that she's feeling, because yeah, she's feeling with her back leg, trying to feel where the youngster is, so that she doesn't back up into him. But he'll touch her now. There we go. She was stretching out with one of her legs. They're amazingly tactile, these animals. Well, they're just elephants. It's hard to see them as animals, since we as humans seem to consider animals just being these mindless, thoughtless creatures. But every animal that you can see on the planet has all the same organs that we have, so there's no reason why they can't feel things and think things and experience things. But elephants are just these wonderful big beings that are just the most amazing and the most calming and the most wonderful to spend time with. A beautiful sunset that might be coming soon. So we're on quarantine. I think that if I can just explain it, there's a white pole just behind her. That's the mast, the whole antenna that helps with the broadcast. That's how close we are to sort of the main Djuma camp, Vuyatela. We're right on the edge of the clearing, which is just outside the lodge. want a drink. The other one's playing with a stick. Hello, Ryan. Ryan's in Utah. Nice to hear from you, Ryan. Do animals here have a fight or flight response, or do they only have a flight response? Ryan, animals everywhere, every single living creature, whether it's an insect or no matter what it is, there is a built-in fight or flight reaction to anything. That is why in a lot of cases, no matter what species, whether it might appear to be harmless, sometimes the safety zone of an animal is so intense that that attack is the best form of defense, and that's why you find sometimes even antelope or what might appear to be a harmless animal actually goes on the offensive, which is that very thing, fight or flight. I don't really particularly like the whole concept of fight or flight because it is so general. Well, it's not that it's general. It's sort of it's so limiting to what animals actually do, and being a behavioral trait, being something that is governed by more than just that instinctive reaction to fight or flee. There are a whole range of other options that animals can resort to, but it's a behavioral thing, so it's not as cut and dried as knowing that either one or the other is going to happen. I think little one's drinking now. Big sis, you're in the way. But I don't know anything really. Well, I suppose there are a lot of animals that would prefer to just flee rather than fight. But I think it all, no matter what species it is, no matter where in the world, I think no matter what species it is, you are going to get a reaction out of it. And I suppose it all depends on at which point they feel threatened, and that might be just by your presence as a human, or it might be because you want to touch it or pick it up, or you're inhibiting it or engaging it in ways that it doesn't want. And even a bunny rabbit will bite if it doesn't like what you're doing. Look at that little one drinking now. I was hoping we were going to see that. Curls the trunk up. It's hard to see where it's putting its trunk, but it curls the trunk up so that it can get to the memory. And quite accommodatingly, Mom is just standing there letting it drink. She's actually just about had enough. Just getting news about lion. Sorry. Alex, sorry, I had to turn you down. I had the other radio going. Hello, Casey. How's New York at the moment? I believe, while I've been home, I believe there's been some pretty heavy snowfalls and storms up the east coast all the way, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Maine even. I think Maine got hit pretty bad. Stacy, would a predator go for this youngster? Possibly. No, I think we well, we've seen that they are pretty protective over it, and if there was any threat, we would see that they would hold that baby really, really tight, close in between the two of them. But also it's a case of where the predators in this part of the world are accustomed to taking baby elephant, because not every animal, or not every, let's face it, we're mostly talking about cats here. A hyena, maybe. A wild dog, not likely. Hyena could probably wear down mom eventually, if they had a big enough pack. But the only thing we really got to consider that might make a move on a baby elephant is lion. And although there are lion that hunt elephant in other parts of Africa, and even in Kruger, there is a pride that I believe have been hunting lion, not lion, hunting elephant, especially babies, because that is a very look at that. He's pushing against sister's shoulder. That's so cute. Like trying to engage her in play, and she just wants to eat. Headbutting. I've had a baby elephant that size headbutt me. A very sad case of an abandoned calf here in the Sabi Sand in the mid-90s that I used to visit every day after lunch. It was on an open area on the opposite side of the lodge, very similar to this, in fact almost identical, except instead of a dam there was the Sand River. Look at that little thing. It wants to play, and sister just wants to eat. And I just love to go and have a play game of rough and tumble. And you know, there are prides of lion that have even taken down fairly large elephant. I know of a pride of lion in Tanzania. There's of course a lot of lion up in Chobe. We were talking about Chobe earlier, where elephant populations are quite high numbers, and a lot of elephant have to get to the Chobe River, to a very small area of the Chobe River for their daily water. And lion have learned how to hunt elephant there. But I don't think any of our lion, it would take a long time for them to suss it out and learn that they've got to separate cows and calves. They've got to cause havoc at night to be able to split them up. But you see, there's another factor that are fairly high, like in Botswana. There are certain social bonds and certain things that break down, I guess. I mean, maternal care, social structure, all the kind of things that really happen in overcrowding situations in any species that is a social species or a gregarious species. Well, not so much gregarious as much as it is social and nurturing the way. Look at it, it's coming running back to mom. And try and move so we can see it again. Mom's going to move down to the other calf now too. I don't have to move. This is the most wonderful thing, being able to witness this and to not be influencing their behavior, to not have them fear our presence or alter their behavior because we're sitting here and watching. And I think Scott's going to actually come and join us. Kind of a pretty sunset. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just get to a little bit to the east of them, so we can maybe just get a nice early sunset shot here. Just show you what that's like. We've got a herd of impala in front of us that we've been seeing in the background for a long time. Hello children, what's up? you doing? You're watching baby elephant. You're all intrigued, aren't you? You're all nervous because there's a bit of wind. And their ears are all forward, their ears are all listening intently. And the big ram that's about to chase them all. Okay, we can park here next to this wattle because she's not going to come to the wattle. She might come past to one of the other marula trees. It's not a wattle, sorry, it's a silver cluster leaf. She's also vulnerable. Yeah, let's face it. She's a single cow with 2 children, and so she's relying on this daughter of hers to a large extent to help her to protect the child. And I suppose, fortunately, there aren't elephant eating lion here, and she's probably the easiest target to be able to harass and split up from the kids for a group of lion. But as you see, it's got to be within the lion's mentality to do that, or lion have to have experienced that in their pride when they were growing up, or I suppose there's always that first time that lion tries something like that, and then maybe it's because the opportunity is there. And there was that elephant calf I was telling you about in the mid-90s at Inyati Game Lodge. We had this elephant calf. I arrived there, and it was across the river from the lodge on this beautiful open area, and it never left the open area. It appeared, well, I assumed it, or I diagnosed it as being deaf because of when I walked with it, it couldn't hear me or didn't react to me until it actually saw me. And sometimes if there is something wrong with the youngster, a mother will abandon it. It's a survival thing. To put the herd in danger because you have an individual or a calf or a child that is not going to make it very well or very easily. Anyways, for whatever reason it was abandoned. I would head out over onto the open area every day after lunch, and I'd walk with it a little bit, and I'd try and diagnose things. It had a couple of pussy wounds on it, which I thought might have been TB. But other than that, the only thing I could think of was that maybe it was hard of hearing, because it couldn't hear me moving around, and only when I saw it, or rather only when it saw me, would it react, and then it would rush me and almost knock me over. Now those lion, I saw one morning, I came back from game drive, we were on our way back for breakfast. I was with some guests, and it was about 9 o'clock in the morning. We'd seen it earlier that morning on the open area, and we were coming back past the open area to cross the causeway back to the lodge, and we found the lion on it. She's raising her trunk, smelling something. Off to get some water, I think, or the next marula tree. Trunks up, catching the air. I think they're smelling. I don't know, maybe there's rain in the air. Look, rubbing the eye. Mama was doing what I was mentioning. That's why she doesn't have any of those white little things in her eye, because she's been rubbing.
Can you hear the radio?
Pardon?
Can you hear the radio?
No. Oh, I was talking, so I turned it down and I forgot that I did. No, I can. Did Alex say something?
Yeah, Alex and Scott tried to get hold of you.
Okay, my volume's up again. Sorry, I had it turned down. There's Scott. There's Scott. Look at that. Scott and Wiem. Hi guys. This is goodbye to Scott day today. My farewell to you, Scott. Okay, Scotty, my farewell to you. Although not what she's doing now, but just having Ellies on cam with you in the background. You need to go back a little bit. I don't know why. I suppose. Something we should have maybe done a little bit more of in hindsight over the last couple of months is actually share a sighting like this and be together in a way so we could all be. Sorry Brian, got to change angle there. Look at this little thing. This is absolutely gorgeous. I need to take, I haven't even taken one photograph of it yet. And now, Mom. Alex, we can switch cameras. No, that's fine, swap audio. Okay, well let's go to the other vehicle then. That is incredible.
Well, isn't this just an absolutely amazing sighting, and so happy to be able to be sharing it with you, Mark, Brian, Wiem and Alex, all of us here together. This really just is an absolutely phenomenal sighting. And look at how cute that baby is. And they're going to be walking right past us. This is so lucky. Hello. Hello. Hello guys. Hello. Look at how close they are. This is adorable. Wow, that was just something else. Whew. That you don't get any better than, I don't think. They are just too cute to even describe, all of them, the way they came up to us like that. That was incredible. And I couldn't really have asked for any form of a better farewell than that. That was just truly too good. When is our luck gonna run out? Yeah.
That was your. I've been with them for an hour, and I've been wishing that they would come up to my vehicle, and they came to say goodbye to you. So
Yeah.
they know that I'm going to be here for another couple of days.
Exactly.
But with that little thing, I think they're going to go and check out Little House on the Prairie.
Okay, well, after you, and maybe Alex can switch over back to you
to
guys, and then we'll keep swapping. Oh.
The last few months. Might be time to start thinking about taking it down. I know we probably will still have rain in the next couple of weeks, but we probably need to think of taking it down. So jealous that they walk almost right up to Scott. It's not jealous, no. It was just wonderful because it was a lovely farewell for Scott. Have mama and baby, and especially with this little baby, you know. People can get so general about elephants and oh, we've got a baby, they're going to get so aggressive, but here's a perfect example of how she's been quite comfortable with our presence, even walking right up to the vehicle. Scott. Back under a marula tree, beautiful big duo marula tree here, two of them, big trees, and back to finding marula fruit. She's having a scratch. There's something irritating her. Not irritating, or itching or something. Now, this is a very interesting thing. She is defecating now, and there are the first few months of a baby's life, it's actually necessary for the child to feed on some of that material that oh, she just heard from somebody, because that was a pretty loud rumble. She's talking to other elephants now. I'm thinking also the way they're moving now. I'm thinking that she's just made contact with someone else. And they're moving off to meet other ellies. Possibly, most likely, just the way that she was rumbling. With a few marula fruits on the way. What was I saying? But I was saying that for the first few months of a child's life, it needs to eat some of that dung that mom deposits, because first of all, it's such a small percentage of it has been digested. And there's still a lot of stuff in it, but it's what's most important and most vital to the survival of the calf is, are the bacteria and the enzymes, the things that the mother has in her stomach that the child needs for its own immune system. Interesting about that rumbling though. I thought they were heading off to find some other ellies. one looks like it's got a bit of a floppy ear. This left ear does seem to fold forward a lot more than other elephants' ears do, but it's still able to fold back again, unlike our floppy ear friend from the bull from last week. Has he been around the last few days?
He has been.
Okay, I won't. Sorry, little girl. Don't teach the child bad things.
Copy. Welcome back, folks. Okay, copy. Alex, confirm I'm live. Well, I'm not sure if I'm live or not, but if I couldn't think of a better way to be finishing off my time here at Djuma and to be able to share this with the two vehicles, which we've very rarely actually done, is quite fitting, and also to be sharing this really special sighting with you as well. I'm so happy. It's been so cute watching them get excited, running from marula tree to marula tree to see which treasures await them. Oh, that baby is just too cute. Oh no, don't do it. Oh, did you get that, Liam? Oh, just knocked over the top of that termite mound, and it went up, and you'll see as it goes past, it snapped off probably a foot of the top of that termite mound, and you could see its plan from a way off. Look at that youngster still trying to... Oh, I should probably reposition the vehicle. Or maybe Alex switch to Mark, because they're behind me. So switch to Mark.
So they're rumbling again, and there is another herd just a little bit south of us. She's just changing her direction again. Quite interesting how she was communicating with other ellies. I mean, we think about it, where she's been walking and now sort of she almost did 180 degree top of quarantine, and she's come back towards this other herd. Now look at them, they're meeting up now. This is going to be amazing, I hope. A lot of this trumpeting, there's excitement.
Welcome back. And we just got to keep an eye on all these ellies now, but it should be fine. Hello, 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 hello. Hello everyone. Look at this. They're all so happy to see one another. VM probably doesn't know where to film. I don't know where to look. It's just too good to be true. So it could well be that this is the first time they are seeing this youngster. Who knows? And who knows why they split up, but look at all the affection they're showing the youngster. It's right in the center of this cluster of elephants. And this is too good. Too good to be true. Well, I'm a little bit lost for words, and I hope every one of you really loved every second of that, because that was unreal. I'm just going to reposition quickly, but this youngster's scratching himself on the fallen down marula. But the coast is clear for me to reverse a little bit backwards. Or is this youngster going to give us a little bit of attitude? It's going well, but nothing serious. Slowly, slowly. Just going to let VM show everybody the rest of your family. Playful, this youngster, and it looks like it's found a playmate, which is perfect. Rather them than us.
Two teenagers meeting up. This is the most wonderful thing to watch, the interaction between, not so much the interaction of the adults, because there was very little. I mean, this big cow that's come along with her family, a much bigger family. Hello, children. And of course the two teenagers are having a ball, because the one older teenager from this herd in front of us has gone over to the matriarch of the other one, and the older sister, the older girl, is not very happy with it. Don't come and take it out on me. No. I didn't do anything. She's also a little bit of a floppy ear. Your mother will get cross with you if you do things like that. Now she's going to intimidate the other children. She'll get a reprimand from this auntie of hers, I'm sure, if she gets too boisterous. But I think that's excitement. I think she's just happy that cousins are here or others are here. Look how the other children are trying to greet her. Oh, you're being mafufunyan, really. Meanwhile, the other young cow has not Oh, oh, wait. That's displacement, a little bit of displacement aggression going on there. It's taking it out on a dead tree. For whatever reason. Why is she so upset, that little one? I don't know. Standing on a tree now. Whether it's because this is a, I don't know, it's really hard to tell. Okay, she's not behaving. Time for a little bit of reassurance. Sibling reassurance. There. Oh, we're missing something. There's just so much going on here. We don't know where to look next. But I think what it is that little girl's nose is out of joint because there's suddenly just other elephants here. Mama's being protective. I would hazard a guess and say that these two girls are sisters, and they are now the matriarchs of their own herds, and now they're coming together again, and that maybe they were from the same mum or the same breeding herd once upon a time, and the little girl who up until now was sort of been the big girl because she's been mama's right hand, and now suddenly she's just a child again, so she's probably having a temper tantrum because of that. She's having her own, taking out, look at that, a dead tree, taking out a dead tree. She's going to hurt herself if she carries on doing that. But you can see, it's the same one we were watching earlier. She was quite calm, although she did look at us a bit funny earlier, but she's got that little left ear that's a bit floppy. I'm surprised none of the adults are doing anything about this little temper tantrum. It's almost as though they say, well, it's like a ignore it, it'll go away type of thing. What she did earlier, which was rather unusual, she actually knocked the top of it, most perfect pinnacle mound, termite mound. She just knocked the top of it off. The other cow's going to take her children away because of this unruly child. Hello, babies. More termite mounds. Don't play with the termite mounds. They didn't do anything to you. Getting discipline from a big cousin. Calming and disciplining, I guess.
More of a, hey, stop it now.
Yeah. Very much like a that's enough now kind of gesture. A tusk in the rump. She's got so much to say. Everybody else is just perfectly calm and looking for marula fruit and nice to have company. I think that's Mom just shaking her head at the child now. I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh. But it is kind of funny how she's behaving. And a young bull coming in. Coming to see what all the nonsense is about. And they're behind trees, so I don't know, maybe. Let's see what this bull's going to do, who he's going to greet. Ah, she's standing up to the little bull. He just keeps walking.
Come on. Well, isn't this just too much now? When are they going to stop performing for us? This little youngster's been so inquisitive and come right up to the vehicle quite a few times now, and I almost feel like I should put my hand out as an offering, but I won't. And we'll just sit and quietly enjoy this. I had a feeling they may come and feed on the fruits from this marula tree, and thankfully they did, because now they've come right up to us and are busy feeding, very relaxed. I don't know if it could get much closer. Look at the youngster now here. So close to the trunk of the hood of the bonnet. And there's a lot to keep in mind here, because there's a lot going on very close to us. But they have come up to us, so they've made this decision, and I'm very glad they did. Well, that got my heart racing. Words cannot describe how I'm feeling. It really is hugely abnormal to have them that relaxed, that close to the vehicle, and I'm not sure who's out there watching over us, but this, even all the audio we're hearing, the visuals we've seen, the cuteness and the size differences of these different animals, and the fact that such a large animal can be so relaxed with us, and especially an animal that's persecuted heavily by humans all over the world, and now we get the fortune of being able to enjoy a sighting with animals that us of humans have, like I say, persecuted and harmed for so many years. Marcus? Brian? Mark, did you speak in your special elephant language and organize this?
No. I told him come, I got to take a bite.
Jeez.
I don't know what that child's up with, though. I mean, that is just...
Sorry? Did you see it? Did you see it flat in the termite mound?
Yes.
I mean...
But then also the cow started throwing toys out the cot now as well.
Yeah. I saw it running off it.
Maybe see something. Look at her, she's looking at us.
Okay.
That's actually not a nice way for an elephant to look at you.
No. No, it's not the look you want to be getting. I wonder what it is that riled them up, because yeah, the one...
Maybe there's an ingwe or something down there.
Okay, because yeah, the one certainly seemed to be running after something.
When she went down there, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, she's just been upset about this whole meeting of the two herds.
Yeah. I think it's the fact that potentially she's not getting as much attention as it used to now with the new baby on the block.
But not only that, you know, up until now she's been mom's right hand, right there, and looking after the child, and now suddenly joined up with this lot. The cousins are here, and she's not the main,
the star of the show anymore. Yeah. Huh. That was
Wow,
incredible.
temper tantrum. That was fantastic.
So,
He's just breaking trees down.
which way are you going to head, Mark? Do you want to go and see the damage and destruction down there, or do you want to stay up here, or what should we do? How much longer have we got?
Something in this.
Well, I wouldn't like to be whatever it is that is in that bush, because it sounds like it's getting demolished.
I think you must be stressing that child out. Now, you know, so many times we get asked why the females leak from their temple. This is why. This is the kind of stress that causes them to dribble from their temple gland.
Kiddie stress. Exactly.
And I just can't imagine what that child is going through. I mean, that little calf is just doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
I think there's something in there.
Okay, well, I'm going to go and have a poke around there, see what happens. What do you think?
Now one of the other children are going over to have a look now.
What am I missing out on? Let's go and investigate. Oh, I'm just going to reverse it a little bit so we can see them meeting. Oh, you're in trouble. You've got quite a few of them teaming up against you. This is absolutely incredible behavior. There's another youngster trundling in. And as you've heard, we're not exactly sure what it could be. Speculation of potentially a predator, but there's something in the air that's really exciting these elephants. And whatever it is, I'm happy that we are here to be able to share this with you, because I'm fairly certain we haven't captured or shared anything quite like this with you over the last few months. So again, another very unique sighting to add to our long list of incredible memories and visuals that we've been lucky enough to see over the last few months. The audio alone this afternoon has been incredible. All the trumpeting and rumbling that we've been hearing. It's been action-packed elephant entertainment. And off they go again. Ooh, surely that must hurt. Mark, just to let you know, they're coming towards you quite quickly from behind. Why? Who knows? I mean, I wonder if it even could be something to do with the frequency that the vehicles put off, because that car all of a sudden really kind of had her sights in for Mark, who was much further away than we were. And like I say, maybe there's a funny copy that. And Mark just did mention that there was a large enough distance between the two of them to rather avoid any confrontation. But again, like I've just said, I'm not sure what it is, Mark's not sure what it is, and he's been here all afternoon and she hasn't done that. So, and not just judging by her behavior, I mean, she's just tearing into a bush, so I think she's just anything that they see really, whether it was a termite mound that the one knocked over, or dead branches, or now bushes, or Mark's car. I think it's all just some really interesting behavior that we don't need to look too deeply into, I don't think, because at the end of the day we're never going to be able to know exactly what it is that's riled them up to this degree. Okay, well, there are just a few moments left, and sad times for me, but there is 2 more weeks of the project continuing, so that's such great news, and who knows, potentially there will be further extensions after that, and if there are, I'll do everything in my power to get a foot in the door and come back and try and get some work done up here. It would be really wonderful if things do continue up here, and I'd love to be involved. A huge thank you to all of the viewers, and a lot of you have really given me a lot of support and sent me private messages on Facebook and took so many screenshots, uploaded those onto Twitter, and have really been so helpful, sending through questions, answering my questions, helping research if I don't know things. So to all of you, the viewers, a huge thank you, and I'm so happy that the show is continuing, and now I'm going to become one of you, and I'm going to be tuned in from Cape Town, watching as much of this as I can, and I'm really going to look forward to learning as much as I can also from Mark, because the sad thing is you get to learn all of Mark's secrets and knowledge and experience from his years out here, but I sadly don't. So I'm looking forward to actually spending some time watching Mark in action. And obviously I'm going to miss the team here. VM, Brian, Alex and Mark have been so much fun. We were already missing Romeo, but we're all good friends now, and we'll hopefully be able to join up in the coming months, be it for work or simply for pleasure. So that's something to look forward to, and a big thank you to all of the team members, Mark and Brian, Alex and Romeo, for all of the help in this project and really making it a smooth and fun project to be involved in. So huge thank you to them. Yeah, this evening couldn't have gone any better. Loved every second of it. Got to track leopard, which is something I love doing, and then to finish off with a sighting like this with Mark and Brian and VM was really spectacular. So Marcus, jeez, thanks so much for everything, buddy, and what a way to finish.
I want to work with you again. We got to join up again one of these days.
Yep, whether it's for work or pleasure, I just mentioned. Actually, we will make a plan.
We haven't had much of that.
Yeah.
But that was weird.
It was.
I mean, I spent an hour and a half with her, and then suddenly she... Because I went near a bush where they've been throwing a tantrum, and then just...
I think that, or the fact that I think they've just been picking, I mean, anything. It went from the one termite mound to the dead fallen down trees to the bushes to then I think you were just in the wrong place at the wrong time. I don't know
why the matriarch decided that, because she brought that calf after me, and I don't normally drive away.
Yeah. No, it was a strange one. It was funny to watch your both heads spin around as the radio message went through simultaneously.
Okay. Thanks for the heads up on that one.
Yeah, no, we could have let it go a few seconds longer maybe, but...
I suppose. Maybe had a couple of holes in the back of Jigger in the project. But the other most amazing thing is that this other matriarch, she's just calm throughout it all.
Exactly.
She's not even blinking an eye.
Yeah. You'd think both adults would have stayed out of it, but the one definitely seemed to get involved with the adolescents. Mischief.
I thought maybe there was a leopard hiding down there, and that's what all the fuss was about.
Yeah.
But
anyway,
whatever.
It was a great afternoon though, Mark, so thanks very much.
It's been a great time.
Yeah. And you must enjoy the coming weeks. And like I've been saying, I'm going to be a viewer now, so I'm going to be tuned in, taking notes from your drives and sending through some questions. So yeah, Mark, I'm so happy that it is continuing and that you are going to be here and that there's a chance for some future work, if not work in the future. Certainly some pleasurable trips will be had amongst a lot of us, I think, amongst all of us. We need to do some tours and
also if you're ever up here in the Lowveld, then from Cape Town we can call it up here in the Lowveld.
Yes, for sure.
You and the lady.
Yeah.
Come and see Timberbarty, come and see my Mapani veld.
I would love that, Mark.
Yeah.
I would love that. Cool.
Okay, I'm going to say goodbye now. Scott's going to say goodbye properly. So, thanks for joining us. I'll see you tomorrow, everybody. We're going to head back now. Thanks, Scott.
Cool, Mark. Have a good one. Thanks, Brian.
Yes, Mark.
See you back at camp.
Yep.
Well, again, folks, a huge thank you, and it is so sad to be having to say goodbye, but it is one of those things that has to happen, sadly, and it's one of those things that you don't think is ever going to happen until it does, and then it really hits home. But at least, like I've said and we have mentioned a few times now, the show does go on, and even though I'm not going to be here, Mark will still be here, and that way we can still all share in these experiences, and that's the beauty of it. Doesn't matter where we are, we can all be out here joining in on the action, as long as one of us is driving around, and it will be Mark, and look forward to following him and the rest of the team over the coming months. And from me, a huge thank you, and to VM, thanks for a wonderful last afternoon out in the bush here, and to Alex in the final control, great work this afternoon. It couldn't have been easy chopping and changing between all of the action out here in the end with these elephants. And also a huge thank you must go to these elephants, because I don't think you could have scripted a better ending to an operation or a project for me. And what a great welcome back to Mark, his first afternoon drive back, and he gets to see the animals that he loves the most. So it couldn't have gone better, and I'm so happy it did end like this for me. And a huge thank you again. All the best, and we'll see you soon, hopefully.